look for here as we do head into this one. KT did select the blue side. BNK FureX did take first pick, which is pretty common in game number 1. Generally, as the games come along, you move towards second pick for more priority there.
Yeah, KT has a very lopsided win rate on blue side as well. I actually don't have the number in front of me right now, but it is like 11-2 or something like that. It is definitely their stronger side at the moment, as Lucian is going to be banned by BNK FureX here. And they're just going to take that away straight up. They don't want to give Lucian Milio over to the second picking team that has the duo on lock. And they'll also take away that flexible Varus. The Bard removed as well. So a lot of strong bottom picks that can come out here for them.
If you're KT Rolster, do you leave Orianna open in hopes that Vikla can't exactly play it all that well and is kind of a, you know, an Annie one-trick pony nowadays? I mean, he's doing well on picks such as Annie.
I think you can ban Annie, and BDD will have a lot of matchups he's happy to play into the Orianna. He lived through the Syndra Orianna meta, but they ultimately decide to take the Orianna instead. Is Annie first pickable with all that's left available in the bottom side? I don't think so. Now, this is a bit of a strange call for me, because you're walking straight into aiming Ezreal with this Jarvan pick. And also potentially into Ashe Seraphine, which they are going to lock here instead.
They just feel like they have to take it away, which I suppose maybe that's why you feel comfortable taking the Jarvan, saying, okay, there's no way he picks Ezreal, but I think Ezreal would have been fine. You know, I think Ezreal lanes can find success against Ashe Seraphine, but maybe Jarvan Ashe Seraphine is just too much.
Yeah, I think that's the main reason. The Bard is banned also. Ezreal Bard, probably one of your better lanes into that. And
oh boy.
The Mel early, and it feels like it's for Taehoon, but we'll see. We have seen the Mel Pike lane into the Ashe Seraphine.
Wolf?
Now I don't know.
Can you hold my hand? Boy, what's happening here? Where's the Skarner going? Is Jarvan bot?
It could be Skarner top. It also
Mel Jarvan bot with Skarner jungle.
So Jarvan bottom lane could actually work. You go Airy, you pressure. We'll see the Xin here in response. Because I don't think Skarner does really well in other lanes at all right now. They nerfed his Q after the rework like so significantly. He used to be viable in the top lane and was very strong there actually, but he's not really going to be able to do anything except be a stat stick and get abuse from any ranged top laner that meets him if he were to be played in the top lane. Let's see if KT Rolster are able to figure this out, because it is a very weird approach to this draft here thus far for BNK. Feels very Edo flavored. So second ban phase here a little bit simpler for the side of BNK, since they are the ones who know. They held all the cards in terms of the knowledge of where these picks are likely to go. And so they can target some of the picks they don't want to face off against. BDD's Rise, which is, you know, it's falling off a little bit, but still quite a pick to be feared. The ranged tops are removed here, so we know where Perfect is planning to go here. The Renekton might be banned in this second phase here for BNK.
Yeah, I think it's a pretty good shout. I mean, Clear definitely can play stuff into the Renekton. Like, he can play Cassante. He's very strong at those picks that can sometimes be answers into Renekton, but a couple of bans already against those good picks.
I think you 100% want to give BDD counter pick here, just because of the flexibility of this draft right now and how many different angles you're going to have to think about as mid-jungle, which is quite up in the air at this moment in time. Again, we think it's probably Jarvan support, but we don't know that for sure. So if you just pick the Renekton here and you trust that with the Vayne and the Gnar band you'll do fine, or even just go for the Jace here, then you have that counter pick, you have that stability. I much would have preferred the Renekton, to be honest, but we'll see as now Clear has this opportunity to potentially play Skarner into this.
Oh, what is happening? What? Yeah, I mean, you could just tell. I mean, they're all giggling. Like, we're going to see something weird.
Someone tell B&K that if they accidentally pick Skarner, they can tell the refs right away.
Yeah, you know, they're really making Tane feel very comfortable in a scrim environment. Like, this isn't a real matchup, you know? Like,
yeah, I think you're right. As this is going to be very difficult to push through all these tanks. Like, is that the thought process here? Like, there's just too much health bar for the Ashe to deal with? There's also a lot of melee, though, so the Seraphine really likes that. Obviously, the Olaf can get past that, so can the Skarner to a certain extent, and even Jarvan is quite mobile. All right.
Aurora is definitely one of these picks that's left in terms of tier list. You could pick Annie, but he's just going to go for Aurora.
I think you can, but you could almost flex the Jace mid and go for a tank for perfect if you wanted to and feel pretty good about dealing with all this magic damage. Instead, he is looking to opt for the Taliyah pick potentially, which is not a great matchup here. And also, I mean, it's great into melees, especially this set of melees, but also feels quite fragile, to be honest. And they have 3 damage threats now, depending on the build of the Taliyah here, to cut through this weird, tanky melee draft that BNK have put together.
Is the Skarner bot?
No way.
Because that was the other thing I was trying to wrap my head around, because it is still a choice. And I mean, there's like that little piece of wall that you can play around the alcove.
I mean, it's kind of similar to how Bard plays into Ashe Seraphine, right? Where you just try to use your magical journey to flank and come in at a weird angle. I guess Kellen is playing Skarner. All right.
Well, Saturday Showdown.
I had already kind of, I guess, written it off in my head. And
I mean, anything is possible. We've seen a lot of Jarvan support. I don't think we've ever seen Skarner support.
No, I don't think so. I think it's going to be an LCK first.
You know, it's not surprising that we did not expect this, but I'm very excited to see what BNK FearX hold in store for us.
That Western BNK fan, not sure if his face said, I'm really excited about this or I'm really nervous about it. I think it said both.
Yeah.
But it's a good day to be here live to watch Saturday Showdown when we're getting drafts like this. Let's see how the experiment goes here as we move into game 1.
Yeah, a lot of fans here have come down to watch this exact matchup for Saturday Showdown as we hop into the Rift for game number 1. All right. Yes, you are seeing Kellen playing Skarner support. He can throw rocks.
He can push people into the wall.
He has Ignite. He
does have Ignite. He has Hail of Blades.
Why? I just don't understand. Like, why don't you just play Pike?
So my
like,
thing
what is the idea here?
So look, we saw yesterday, was it Vi and another melee going into, like, it was into carry a Seraphine, and we were all like, what are they doing? Like, they just kind of ran into the Seraphine and died. This feels like it can be kind of a similar situation because the Skarner, his angle of attack can be unpredictable, but if you position well and you have good vision of him and you can track him, you could just kind of avoid him, and then he can't move, and then he can't do anything. He's very tanky, has great base stats, so we'll see what that ends up meaning. Maybe he just ends up being a brick wall so that Taeyun can offer a lot of damage over time, but I think the idea is more about the flanking through the wall stuff like we've seen from the Bard that has been doing decently well into the Ashe Seraphine matchup. So Kellen's like, if I can go through the wall, I'm fine. And they do get level 2.
And they're going to get level 2.
But because Skarner has to go very deep to use his ability in a lane state like this, I think it's not going to matter right now.
Yeah.
Let's see. I want to learn. Kellen, please show me your ways. Let's see if I can find out more about your game here. As Cuz is down here early.
Yep. Level 3 gank from the Xin Zhao is pretty common nowadays. Definitely looking to utilize the priority from the bottom side. Even if you don't go for a literal gank on the lane, you can just go in and steal the blue buff, which the Raptor's like, yeah, that's not my blue buff. I'm going to go elsewhere. As Cuz will take that down. And actually, Raptor does avoid this ward here.
So I'm so far leaning towards the it's not working out side of things here, but it's early days. It's only level 2, and Ashe Seraphine is strong into so many matchups that the Jarvan gets to have that extra power, and the Xin gets to have that extra power with this matchup here. And we do see Raptor coming to the other side of the jungle here. Cuz is going to try to come call him out with his Blast Cone, but we'll miss the timing, I think, slightly. Ooh!
Cuz doesn't have Smite, so Raptor can just smite it, even though it is late. He secures the buff. And now, I mean, it did look like the Olaf was doing pretty well in top lane. Now that we see the health bars, not exactly. But Raptor is going to get away, I think, as he does dodge. The whip becomes lightning, and in goes Cuz, but it's not enough. And so he does get away. Meanwhile, on the bottom side, looks like Kellen did go in and do Skarner things, as this is the first time we have seen Skarner support ever.
Skarner, sup. LCK debut.
Sup. Sup. Here I am. I'm in the bot lane.
Yeah, this doesn't, you know, sometimes we at the LCK, we'll get a replay of the engage that looks like it, okay, so, all right, got him into the wall. Good work.
Wow. Sup.
And that caused a bit of a split recall, which means they do have prio down on the bottom side here. But sometimes there's, because we're so LCK focused here as a talent group, like sometimes these picks can go under the radar that happen in other regions or in like a challengers type of thing. But I haven't heard anything about this yet myself. I am still trying to figure it out in real time here.
Yeah, I feel like theoretically the Mel is just really good on her own as a mage, a control mage that can utilize range and not really interact with Ashe Seraphine. And then Skarner's just like, well, he has a great ult, and he's quite tanky, and Mel doesn't necessarily need help, so we'll just pick the Skarner because we like it better than Pyke in team fights.
Yeah, well, that's the other thing that we haven't talked about. We've been talking so much about the lane. What can Kellen roam with and do out of lane? Can he be a second jungler, essentially, here with this pick that can be really surprising? So far, the answer is he's not doing that. In fact, it's been Effort who's been out of the lane a little bit more here, as his tier picked up. And yeah, it has neutralized this lane a little bit, that one push that he had into getting into Effort.
Yeah.
But otherwise, this is still, you know, a bit of a mystery down here.
Yeah. I mean, we've been seeing more and more Skarner nowadays, obviously in the jungle, mostly from Canyon. And so maybe BNK FearX were like, hey, this champ seems pretty good. And perhaps through testing. BDD in a bit of trouble, but that was very nice on the buffer from Raptor. Flash comes in from Vikla, and he just kind of misses. So he says, here, take my flash too, and you get away safely anyway.
And the rock placement was good there from BDD. And that is the end of that, but still, we'll push him out of the lane. He has his passive to get back to lane quite quickly, so that's not going to matter too much. And obviously, like with the home guards on patch 26, not going to miss too much from this. Cuz looking to stop it back, though, and that will be successful.
We got an update from
See, I had
Mr.
to put it out there. I was like, somebody's going to say
oh,
it.
there it is, the flash engaged, and now Effort has to flash away, and that could be a Seraphine in a bit of danger in the future.
I knew somebody would Google it. Who did?
He did check the solo queue accounts, and he played 3 games of it last night.
Oh, Kellen did. Okay.
Yeah, Kellen did.
So no, I thought he was pulling it from another region. So it is just kind of a Kellen thing. Hashtag just Kellen.
Yeah, just Kellen things. That's what he does. Nobody can understand it. And I don't think we're meant to understand it. Maybe we're going to learn about it here in this game.
Well, I wonder, did he tell you if he won or not?
He sent a picture. Let me take a look.
Okay. My interest has been piqued since the moment it was locked in.
Looks like he won 2 and then lost 1. And Vikla is okay, even without his flash.
Effort has spent a lot of time roaming around that hasn't led to really a whole lot of anything, so he finds himself a whole level down. Both of these supports have incredibly impactful ultimates, and it looks like Kellen is going to have his at a much accelerated rate. So this is really bad for KT for winning these first few fights on, for example, this Dragon, and maybe being off the Skarner makes a trip up there, which he can quite easily because he's Skarner, the upcoming Grub skirmish. This is just a 1v1 now.
We're getting more and more info about these builds as well. He built Titanic Hydra in 2 of the games after Bloodsong. Also, a nice smattering of the Protoplasm harness, as you would expect. Very good on Skarner.
Very cheap as well for a support to buy.
Titanic Hydra, though, is pretty interesting.
I mean, he does have, like, again, those base stats I was talking about feel good for that type of thing, but I don't...
Cuz is taking Raptors? Isn't that, like, kind of illegal? Raptor now is just kind of being bobbed around, and Cuz, he's not going to want to watch that highlight. And now he doesn't have Flash. Vikla trying to do a bit of damage, but I think because Raptor's so low they can't really do all too much.
Cuz has ult disadvantage, but I don't think Raptor could do anything about it without help.
I
Here
think
comes
Cuz
Clear.
is just dead. Like, you're not getting away from a flash Olaf, and he realizes that as well, goes back in. Vikla picks up first blood on this Aurora after Cuz and BDD go way too deep.
What a bizarre and wholly unnecessary exchange from KT Rolster. Raptor doesn't even need to use the Cataclysm, in fact, to help them catch the kill, and it goes over to Vikla. So that puts them in a slight gold lead. It is very slight, sub 100, as you can see in the UI, but this initially looks really cool because BDD has ult, and they want to make a play here. Gets past the root, Raptor gets shoved, but then he Crescent guards Raptor away after flashing for that. Could have just been happy with the end result and taken the jungle. And live, it looked like maybe Clear was trying to do something there on the top side. Clear has prio, Cuz is too deep here, and so he is just going to try to do what he can before dying himself. And now the Grubs look like they're just going over here for free to B&K. So forget Skarner's Impale advantage, and it's just looking like we're not going to have a fight at all.
Yeah, gonna have to wait for that one. And
here comes Kellen.
Vikla's coming in. Not a lot of damage done, but the Skarner definitely wants to get something done. Kellen will just be sad and have to walk away. And I do wonder if B&K FearX get a lead, how do you get away from Aurora, Jarvan, Olaf as Ashe Seraphine? I feel like, you know, as a composition, B&K FearX put a lot of thought into this.
I'm kind of trying to understand. He's building obviously a lot of health. You mentioned the Titanic Hydra. What's up with the Hail of Blades rune choice?
He attack.
I mean, he gets Taste of Blood, so that seems helpful, I guess. I don't really know. Like, he did it in his solo queue games as well. So, I mean, It's clearly the plan. It's not like he picked the wrong runes here in this game. I'm seeing it, like we saw that attempt right there to look for the gank. You know, he's constantly roaming, and now the lane is starting to be just, like you said, Nell sit by herself and farm up, get the role quest, and then make a lot of money. But it needs, I need more visual testing. I think it's very obvious that it's an engaged support that's very difficult to punish because it has escape elements, right? It's very tanky, has a great ultimate, has a slow that's on a pretty low cooldown that allows you to chase down targets. And when you have this triple melee like Olaf, Jarvan, Skarner setup with two explosive mages, one of which can fire from a long distance away, like I can get the idea, the thought process actually is definitely there, but he could have also played so many other things like the Pyke you mentioned, but Pyke is very squishy later on in the game, as we've seen it's fallen off in a big way. Or could have even like tried to play something like Leona if that was the thought process as well with that type of engage, but Skarner a little bit more mobile. It almost feels like he's got Eclipse on all the time because he's just so tanky. BDD.
Yeah, Vikla has the spell already finished. With that first blood he picked up, you can see currently the item discrepancy pretty large here in the mid lane. Cuz doesn't seem to care about all that. He's going in for more. Vikla hits everything except the cannon, which that kind of does pain me. That's going to be a miss on that one, but Raptor just goes in as Vikla. They're desperate to take out BDD, and they will be able to, but now they got to deal with the Xin Zhao. As Cuz alone is trying to go in here, the knockup comes in. Vikla super low, but I think they've got the damage. Cuz with no flash and nowhere to go, just going to be hit by a giant spear, and B&K FearX are up 3-zip.
What, again, a strange choice from Cuz, the way that he decided to stick around and fight that. Didn't have his flash back up, and I don't fully understand. Also, Perfect can't join. Like, he doesn't have the control over the top side. So once again, it's Clear who is on the fast rotation. There's just like no way out. Like at this point, just like, I get it, they want to save BDD or allow BDD to recall, but then Cuz is like, I'm going in on this. BDD misses the first part. Don't have the threaded volley, but I don't know if that's really the difference maker here. As then now Cuz doesn't have flash and is chain CC'd.
Oh, we're going all in under the turret. Perfect, in a lot of trouble. Gets flashed on, and Clear puts him in the grave. Here's BDD, and should be able to get the cleanup, but yeah, that's pretty rough. Solo kill comes through for Clear.
B&K are getting double dragon on the other side. The Ashe has Kraken Slayer, but I think the rest of the map is falling apart very quickly here. And I think for KT, you need to not be behind on, you know, your Jason, your Taliyah to make this work, even if the Ashe is doing just fine. Unfortunately for Clear, he will get caught by BDD here, but gets the plate gold as well from the Crystalline Overgrowth. It's actually close to getting a second plate there as BDD finally picks up his Blackfire Torch.
Infernal Soul on the Rift, and
with this comp,
you're going to be doing huge amounts of damage. I mean, we got a little taste of what Olaf can do. Obviously, a lot of damage into squishier targets, but I mean, there's not really a real tank on the side of KT. Like, they have Xinjiao, but Olaf's really good into that because he just runs into the Crescent Guard and doesn't care about the knockback either. So, a lot of damage from Olaf, but what about the rest of the comp as well? So, BNK have a really comfortable lead in this mid game.
Yeah, let's see what is going to eventuate here in this top camp by Kellen. BDD's flashless and ghostless. But he's going to clear the wave, and that's the end of that. Cuz may also be in a little bit of danger. By the way, the whole time, the Mel is pushing mid. There is no answer right now. Kellen, like the threat of Kellen has kept KT a little scared here. BD will get his blue buff, but finally, aiming comes to catch that wave.
Cuz definitely in a lot of trouble here. The sun comes through on the wall, and it's easy pickings. Cuz does not get an opportunity to use anything.
Yeah, that's the power of Skarner's support, like we were talking about in theory, right? He's very mobile. He can just kind of combo you and impale you and kill you. And Cuz just straight up, but like I feel like almost any support could have done that because they had no control of top lane, they had no control of mid lane, but it looked really cool, and Kellen clearly feels comfortable with it. So I'm not even trying to say anything bad about it. It was really nicely played. Unfortunately for KT though, just did not have any way to stop that from eventuating, as again catching as much as they can from this wave. BDD is only about a wave behind in this game, as Cuz
he's on vision.
Yeah, he is tussling with this Skarner. Like he opted in a third time in this game for something like this, and he's 0-3 now.
Yeah, I mean, he did have Crescent Guard and Flash, but you know, the thing about Skarner support, or Skarner in general, is that he has insane amounts of CC, and the comp doesn't have a huge amount of CC, so Skarner really does shore that up. Does look like Clear's gonna have to pop his ult here just to stay safe. And yeah, I think Cuz maybe doesn't play against a whole lot of Skarner nowadays, underestimated the amount of CC that he has. His aiming's taking a big chunk here. The ult even gonna come through. And effort's there to help out. But yeah, the entire map right now is controlled by BNK.
That ultimate from Tame guarantees there's no contest for this Herald whatsoever, so they get it. They push the Ashe again out of the lane, and now they're gonna put more plate pressure on to this mid turret. And it's just KT scrambling.
Okay.
A little bit tough into the Seraphine for the reasons we mentioned earlier. And Effort does have flash and heal available, so if after his charge he got stuck onto that turret, I don't think he would have liked it very much. Cuz going in again.
Yeah, right.
Luckily for him, this is not baseball. Otherwise, we'd have another player in because he already got the 3 strikes. But this time he does not get punished, as they had a lot more control. And yeah, I mean, BNK just keep pushing waves in, and KT are sort of getting them, but losing a lot of money on turrets. A lot of plates going over.
Kellen just kind of gets to hover around lanes and
he's
say,
roaming.
You're not allowed to exist because all of my lanes are winning. The Olaf is winning, not by a huge amount, but with the Skarner, obviously, can do a lot. We still don't have a first item for Perfect, which is kind of strange. He picked up a Dirk and has not completed that first one.
Yeah, it looks like he will on this back, probably.
If he can
get back, yeah. Like, it's Skarner is essentially being a second jungler in this game. He had the experience advantage earlier on in the game, but now it's been shored up by Effort, and Effort actually took a lead. I think because Kellen has just not been near minions. He is constantly threatening, you know, these pushed into the wall and then impale combos, or just follow up to other all-ins that can happen in the lane, like what Clear could have done there to Perfect. So it's quite scary, and I feel like with the cheap item he's picked up, he doesn't need experience that much.
Oh boy. You know, Rebuttal, I think, was still down. Like, the CD on that is pretty insane. And he just kind of sidesteps it. And he didn't even, you know, bother to flash or anything. He's like, no, I got this. Tier 2 boots. Just utilize the walk strategy.
How many waves are going to crash in these turrets that are going unanswered here for KT?
Yeah, and now they're trying to make a play here. BDD going to be forced to flash, and now you've got a Skarner flashing on in with the Impale. And Kellen looks so good on the Skarner, as that's going to be a nice pick here on a BDD. And now we got more on the way. Here comes BNK FearX as a gigantic Aurora ult is going to catch them all and zone the rest of KT away. As Cuz actually going to get in onto the Krugs. Nice little knock up here, but he is not getting away. And Perfect just trying to play the game by himself in the side lane. He will be able to survive, but he does not get to farm.
I think it's time for the blind Jace to go.
Oh, now?
Yeah.
Not like 5 weeks ago, Wolf?
Yeah, I mean, I was like kind of feeling like about 3 weeks ago, but like they banned the Gnar and the Vayne. But Yorick was also up. There's so many answers to the Jace right now. The Jace is just not looking very strong. You know, it's a great lane to get prio early, but then it feels like it does almost nothing afterwards. There's so many of these fights that BNK have won through Kellen and or Raptor might have been salvaged if Perfect could join, but he's never able to join. He's constantly under turret, and like the Olaf can come over first. And like, this is the type of comp where if Kellen finds that initial pick, they can't just keep running at people like forever and flash over the wall and chase them. Like, look at Kellen, he is going in, and Perfect is like, I can't do anything to help you guys. I'm running away. I'm not also dying, but I might if I don't leave immediately. So by the way, that turret is gone as well in the bottom lane. That was heavily damaged from earlier on.
Wow. Vikla not messing around with that. It looks like Effort was already backing away, but he's Aurora. It's okay. He's got Rocket Belt as well. Very strong right now. Vikla. They're going to go in this time. Maybe they do get Kellen. The Impale still getting value. Kellen finally does go down. And even going to be forced to flash away. We got a wall coming in, but now we got clear on the way, and he is ready to party. Graggy Ice getting in there, and now aiming. Nowhere for him to go as Clear kind of gets lost in the chaos. Not sure about that, but eventually aiming will die. And they even get the turret, as this is kind of a landslide right now in favor of FearX.
I mean, this game has, I think, been over for a little while, it feels like, but now it feels like you can really see the power of the snowball rolling down the hill for this composition. I mean, the Skarner chases so easily. Cuzzier is on a blast cone, but again, like, has information about where everyone is. And I think you've got to realize you can't fight this right now. Aiming is in position eventually to do some damage, but you're so far behind. And again, guess who can't join? The Jace in the bottom lane. He would have just been fish food if he came into this fight.
Live, we do have a Seraphine that has to flash. So a little bit more insult to injury. Zephyr just trying to exist in his own jungle, but that hasn't been their jungle for quite a while, as Cuz has hopefully figured out.
Wow, this is very cool tech.
You know,
but I don't know if it's the game is necessarily fully about it. It's a little bit about it, but he is 3 of 8 KP right now. I'm kind of looking at the Jarvan and the Aurora and the good rotational play from BNK.
Yeah, it just kind of feels like BDD and Cuz are not really on their game right now.
Yeah.
We saw that a lot in the early game. BDD's been struggling, but also I felt last week that Cuz was actually having the roughest time. So the two of them that have been the main engine of KT for so long, just, you know, form fluctuates. They're great players, but they're just not having a good time nowadays, and it has been rough as Vikla just going to dodge with everything he's got. And he does get away from that arrow. We have not really seen an arrow have much effectiveness in this game. Kellen is he's going to tank everything up.
Skarner, baby! Yeah! He doesn't get hurt.
Yeah.
He gets shield.
I do want to see the Titanic Hydra. I just want to see it, you know. A support building Titanic Hydra second is, you don't see that every day.
No. I don't think I've seen that on any day, actually, not even one time.
Yeah.
But maybe today is the day. I just don't know if this game lasts long enough, with BNK looking poised to take Infernal Soul in 1.5 minutes. The amount of control they have over this map right now. This entire game has been KT minus Cuz, like, standing against the wall with their hands up, trying to block the aggression, and Cuz being like, I'll fight him.
Yeah.
And the rest of the team is like, I think we maybe, I don't know about that one.
You know, keep getting back up.
Never going to get him down,
and try again. See, I mean, look, he's trying again. It might work this time. I mean, Crescent Guard, you know, he burned the Impale. I don't know. Aiming doesn't get to play the game, and now he really doesn't get to play the game. And they're all just kind of dying, melting in the mid lane.
This is such a BNK comp when you think about how aggressively it can dive. It's just like, we all go in, we kill them, and they could do nothing about it. And even with Taeyun on this roster, like, he's the one who's playing the Mel. He's arguably the least go-in guy in this comp, but it's really easy to follow up with Mel. And Taeyun is the kind of guy who likes to go in.
Yeah, he's a go-in guy.
Yeah, he is. Even though in this comp, like, his champion is not. But he is going in with them and layering all that damage. He played that last fight. The follow-up was great there. Very well. Helen is like, you can't reach me.
Yeah.
It was like your younger brother, like, hand on the forehead moment there.
Yeah. Let's Baron at 23 minutes.
But they got a bounty.
Infernal Soul about to spawn for BNK4X.
Outer turret bounty, though?
What are we doing here?
Well, trying to get farm, I guess, is the answer. It's not the answer that anyone wants to hear, but follow-up here from Taeyun is great, right? Like, Raptor goes in, sets it up for him. Just as simple as that. Clear on the wraparound, making sure there's just no retreat. And this is Infernal Soul. And a 6,000 gold lead. Sorry, 6,500 gold lead. And I'm feeling good to be a BNK predictor at the moment. I will say that much, Valdez.
Yeah, I was very curious to see what would happen if BNK4X actually fell behind in this game, because it definitely does feel very all-in, right? Everybody's diving together. You got the Mel as kind of like the artillery, and everybody else is just going in. But what if you're behind? Like, you can't dive stuff.
And we can give...
Your engage can fall flat. You don't have as much vision control.
Yeah, we can give KT some, I guess, credit for... I don't want to say credit, but like, we can forgive them because they've never played against this potentially and maybe didn't respect it enough here, especially in some of those early scraps where, like, Cuz's messed up Crescent Guard is one of those butterfly effect moments
that's
that, like...
Aurora Jarvan, though. Like, you should know...
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, even that moment doesn't have anything to do with the Skarner, but it's like, you know, some butterfly effects here is Taeyun.
Well, that rebuttal not going to get much value. And now Clear is like, well, I guess I'm pressing my ult. Going in, actually. Does not bother to leave. Does get the kill. But it is a shutdown here for BDD.
Yeah, I do remember just a few days ago, KT hanging on by a thread of a thread against D+. It was a similar gold lead at times, but the composition was a little bit tougher, I think, for D+ to play out. See if BNK also kind of fall into the trap of being a bit too aggressive at the wrong moments into KT and giving over some shutdowns. This ends up being a kill onto aiming, but like barely. If he doesn't get that, it is a disaster. It's going to put some of the wind out of the sails of their Red Bull Baron power play. In fact, we'll turn it technically to a negative for the time being, and probably will finish that way if they can't find something else on the map. So KT bouncing back a little bit here. 3 items for aiming. That's really important because he has the ability to cut through these tanks given enough time, as we saw there in those final moments. And if everyone's not on the same page, it is all in, like you said. And if everyone starts coming in piecemeal one by one, then KT will very easily dispatch of this comp, especially because they have Seraphine and Talia, which are great into those melees. So they need to maintain this control, BNK do, I think, for the next 4 minutes, and then take the Elder, and then they should be able to end the game. Just need to play respectfully until then, and just constantly keep that map control.
Yeah. Couple of things there. I think that Taeyun, you know, he had flash, and he could have flashed the seismic shove, but in that case, you know, he would get his flash up just about, you know, a couple, you know, 10, 20 seconds after Elder spawns, so could have been a little bit of an issue. And obviously dying isn't good, but I think saving the flash probably better than actually using it and surviving, because, you know, KT, they stop the push, but they don't really get much.
It is also quite a unique situation where we had early dragons and a 4-0 dragon. That doesn't happen all too often here in the LCK, where you end up having an Elder this early, where you're like, okay, if we mess this up, we could actually lose everything. I do agree with you in that sense that him dying there means very little in the grand scheme of their overall advantage. And with the flash available for Elder, he might be able to make an outplay there. Raptor caught, but is there follow-up?
I mean, he's keeping him around, but this is Jarvan, so... Yeah, I mean, the arrows, I don't even really blame aiming, but they've all been kind of desperate, you know? They're arrows from behind where it's like, maybe we can get this pick on the guy in the side lane, but... Yeah, generally they're just kind of falling flat, so...
Feels like every champion except the Mel is incredibly mobile, actually, here for BNK, when you think about it. And that's why they're great at chasing you down, but also kind of good at getting away if KT are trying to set up a pick with this Ashe. And even the Talia, who is starting to become a big threat in this game, does have 3 items, has the Shadow Flame, which is pretty huge damage for BDD, and they need that damage to cut through these tanks.
Yeah. Might actually deal damage. I think that Talia and Ashe into a mostly melee comp is definitely quite good, in terms of damage that you're going to be able to do. Sometimes Ashe can find herself kind of like just volleying or arrowing against certain compositions, but aiming definitely going to get a lot of value. Autoing things, and Talia kind of goes without saying. BNK FearX playing pretty passively. They haven't gone for any big team pushes. Looks like maybe they want to set up for the Baron here, as GA is purchased by Raptor, 3rd item, and there's going to be the Death Stance as well for clear, so definitely a couple of good item spikes for these 2 players as we head into the next set of objectives.
Just had a thought and reminded myself that Skarner's passive is Quaking passive, which is, I guess, the reason why he goes Hail of Blades in this situation. So I guess it does make sense. I don't know why I didn't think of that earlier, but it just feels bizarre. Like when I think about Hail of Blades supports, I think about, high damage supports that actually get so much value from their auto attacks in terms of just hitting the enemy champion and doing damage to it, but actually does make a lot of sense here in this situation when you think about that. And KT, we've seen this position just a few days ago, right? They held on. Let's see what BNK do, which maybe D+ did not do, right, is start a Baron and look for a turn. This comp turns incredibly well. Like, it's unreal. And it has a huge lead. I think they should be, like, on Baron, basically on spawn and asking KT, like, do you dare? Or would you rather just try to go for Elder against Baron Prio? Because it's so hard for KT. Now, they do have a Xin Zhao. They do have BDD's Weaver's Wall, which can play some really interesting interference and can come in at interesting angles. Or...
Nice Zhonya's here from Vikla to get away from that damage.
There's a TP from both top laners.
Yeah, and perfect. He's going to be happy. He is very fast. He gets away from a lot of that poke. BNK FearX is not really starting up the objective. They just want to go for the fight immediately. Vikla just kind of putting his face into it and does dive, and everybody is caught in the Cataclysm, and the Olaf is behind everybody as well. It is a landslide here for BNK FearX as they TP to mid.
It just feels like that was enough. Vikla just runs into 5 people, and then they kill him, and they're like, oh, you used all your buttons, so now you can't kill all of the rest of our comps. He wants to try to slow them down here, maybe push clear down to very low health, but this looks like it's just the beginning of the end here, as 30 seconds on the DPS. I would not call perfect in this game, into this composition, a DPS. They're not going to be back up in time. Perfect's trying to clear this wave, gets denied by the rebuttal. And BNK, interesting draft here, but perhaps the most interesting of all was how this early game went. It's KT struggling in the early game again, and this time they cannot use their resilience to kind of hang in there and find that window the way they did against D+ BNK. Only 3 solo queue games that we could see, but who knows what's going on behind closed doors on other accounts or in scrims. As this comp, though, felt like a lot of it was about the failings of Cuz and BDD in some early scraps. They just could not actually choose the right battles, and often were overconfident, which is the exact opposite, I feel, of how KT played most of this year, where they were the ones who punished plays.
네이치 아예 모른다 이거.
하긴 레이스 없는데? 레이스 없고? 스킬하면 막아도 돼.
자, 존나로 더빙 빠졌어 얘.
야,
제이스 보자.
천천히 볼게.
한 번만. 빨리지 마. 끝.
빨리 깨. 시작부터. 탈리아 더비강 달려온다 여기.
아.
3라인 갈 때부터
그냥 뒤 쪼이면서 썸 보면 어때?
쪼이면서 해볼래? 탈리아 스킬 빠졌어.
강 나와 얘들아?
올라 살아볼래? 강 나와.
좋아.
애쉬 볼게 애쉬. 쟤네 지렸다.
반사 어땠어? 미드 텔 박을 때
가볼래?
미드 와볼래?